Hey everyone. I usually don't do videos, but I thought today maybe I'd try it, give it a shot, see what happens. Just came out of the gym, had a great cardio session, maybe do some legs later. Sunday, December the 23rd, so we're less than 2 days away now from Christmas. And of all things, what I'm going to be really talking about is kind of like dating and finding the one. Okay. Um, why am I talking about this now, especially at Christmas? Well, I've been hearing a lot of things from people, like a lot of single people, especially, that maybe have been single for a long time. Now, full disclosure, for those of you who may not know me outside of Facebook or Instagram, whatever social media, I'm almost 53 years old, and I've really been single for really most of my life, if for all intents and purposes, all my life. I mean, I dated a little bit back in the day, but uh, nothing super serious, I guess you could say. Um, and at this point in my life, do I really think I'm going to meet somebody and get married? Probably not. Okay, as a Catholic Christian, of course, I have to always be open to what God's will is for me. But at this point, seeing the road that I've been led on thus far, I don't really see that happening. And I actually thank God for it, because especially when my dad was in his last days and he needed a caregiver, I was able to be his full-time caregiver. And I don't see how I could have possibly have done that had I been married or seriously involved, or God definitely had a reason for it. And yes, by the way, this is going to be from a Catholic Christian perspective. So if that's not your thing, I'm just telling you from now. Okay, you're more than welcome to listen one way or the other. But this is going to get a little religious. Okay, just so you're aware. Okay. Now, hearing people talk at work, I mean, a lot of people I know getting really frustrated with the dating world. Um, I know another woman who just went through a really bad breakup, and I think maybe it's harder for people to be single just before Christmas, and then after Christmas, less than 2 months later, you have Valentine's Day hitting you in the face. I mean, in all likelihood, you're going to see that Valentine's Day candy hit the shelves probably on New Year's Day. And why people buy Valentine's candy in January, I don't know. I don't know if they do, but it's on the shelves if you want it, regardless. Okay, but I think the majority of the people out there still marry with the notion, or still date rather, with the notion of one day marrying the perfect one. Okay, we always say, oh, if I could only meet that special someone, if I could only meet that one person, I know I'll be happy, maximally happy for the rest of my life. Be happily ever after, like in Cinderella or whatever fairy tale you want to go by, where the man and woman get married, and they lived happily ever after. That's pretty much almost every person's dream out there. I think man or woman, it's almost you want to meet the one. Okay, and I heard an interesting talk on this, and I just want to share some points on this. I'm not getting all this out of my head. Don't think, oh boy, he's really insightful. I'm just conveying stuff that I've already heard. Okay, so is there really a one? Is there a one person that we could meet, date, marry, and make us completely happy? Okay, is there a one? Okay, well, no, and yes. Okay, so what do I mean by that? All right, the more we look for the one, okay, the more we're actually going to reduce not just our happiness, but also our holiness. Okay, what do I mean by that now? Okay, God gave us a brain. He expects us to use the brain, of course. He wants us to use our reason. He also gave us free will to make our own choices. So he gives us a brain to know right from wrong. He gives us free will to choose right and not the wrong. Okay. Um, and I do have notes here, by the way. So if you see me look down every now and then, it's because I'm referring back to my notes. Okay, told you, I'm not that smart. Okay. Um, Now, with with uh, with the free will, of course, we have the right to choose whoever we want to marry. We also have the right, in some cases, to choose a vocation. Okay, and I heard in this talk, I heard an interesting story where this priest, a Catholic priest, was talking to, he was a college chaplain, and he was talking to one of the students at the college, a male student, and in the course of conversation, this priest said to him, had I not become a priest, I can think of probably at least 15 other women that I've known in my life that probably could have married one of them and been very happy with any of them. And the guy that he said this to was like, he almost fell over when he heard that. He's like, what an unromantic thing to say, but when you think about it, it's really true, because there's really no one person who is that perfect person that you can be happily ever after with. Okay, and the more you, and again, the more you look for that person, the more you're going to not only reduce your happiness, you're going to reduce your holiness. Okay, and the more you keep searching for that one soulmate. Okay, if I can only meet that one soulmate. Some people, when they're dating, they give themselves such a high laundry list of standards that they have to that they want to go through. They go boom, boom, boom. If they don't meet all these different standards, forget it. They're, whoever, they're gone. Either they're not going to date that person, or maybe the person's not going to get the second date, or whatever. But and when you keep looking for that soulmate, you keep wanting to make that perfect decision. And there's actually a sociologist, they mentioned his name was Barry Schwartz. He wrote a paper called The Paradox of Choice, and he talks about how, it's great that in this day and age that we live in, we have a lot of choices about a lot of different things, but somehow the downside of that is, with so many choices, you start looking for the perfect choice. So, for example, he gives the example of going out to buy a pair of jeans, and you go to a jeans store, you got Levi's, you got Lee jeans, or whatever. You buy a particular pair, you go home, you try them on, and they fit good, you like them, everything's fine. Then maybe you go back either to that store or to another store, you see a whole other choice of jeans that you love, and you're like, oh, if I can only just pick that perfect pair now that's going to look absolutely perfect on me and great, and I'll be the envy of all my friends. And now you buy a different brand of jeans, and you try them on, and they feel good, and they feel okay, they feel fine. But in a world of perfect, when you're always looking for the perfect, fine is not fine enough, good is not good enough. Okay, and when you translate that into looking, say, for a spouse, okay, now if you meet, when you're looking for a spouse and a person, good is not good enough. Okay, and this was very interesting. They said in the talk that marriage is actually a place where good men and women go to die. Okay, and I know that sounds real romantic. I'm sure it made you all feel a lot better now. Die in the sense dying to themselves. In other words, out of love for the other person, okay, you die to yourself, okay, so that other person can become the best person that they can be, so you can become the best person you can be. Okay, that's what spouses are supposed to do. They die to themselves so their spouse can become the best person they can possibly be. Okay, because again, they mentioned in the talk, marriage is not about self-gratification. It's about self-donation. It's not about self-fulfillment. It's about self-giving, giving of self. Okay, and when you take the self-gratification and self-giving, the self-gratification and self-fulfillment out of it, that's Jesus. That is Jesus Christ. Okay, die to ourselves the way Jesus died for us on the cross. And so when it boils down to, is the only one that none of us can do without, the one that we truly, absolutely need to be happy, to be fulfilled, is Jesus Christ. He is the one. He is the one, the way, the truth, and the life. He is the one. And his heart beats for you. So now you have to ask yourself, does your heart beat for him? So as we approach Christmas Day, and now a day and a half, ask yourself, as we await the birth of the Christ child, um, have you spoken to the one today? And have you given him your heart? Because his heart is beating for you. God bless everyone. Merry Christmas.